Hello, good morning, students. Welcome back to the computer science online classes. So, in this session, I'm going to discuss on model question paper 2, 5 marks questions. So, first few questions we'll discuss in this session, and the next few questions will be discussed in the next video. Okay, so let us begin this session. So, the question goes like this: explain the characteristics of digital computer in detail. Okay, so here you have to explain the characteristics of a computer. Okay, so first characteristics, of course, it is a speed, storage, it has a good accuracy, diligence, versatility, flexibility, cost effectiveness. So these are the key points you have to remember and you should write. After writing these characteristics in single points, you have to explain each points. So first point is speed. So computers are very fast. The speed of the computers is measured in million instructions per second or billion instructions per second. See, nowadays computers has been used in all the sectors of industries. Wherever you go, there everything will be computerized. Is it right? So computers are very fast. So only we are all going to use these computers. The speed of the computers is always measured in million instructions per second or billion instructions per second. So even for example in money counting machine, or also we are going to use this computers. So these computers can measure the speed than the measuring of the man or a human beings. Okay, so this is the first point. So next is storage. So computers has huge amount of storage of volume of data and information. The storage capacity of the computer is measured in bytes. So you all know that 1 byte is equals to 8 bits. Okay, or a group of 8 bits is called as a byte. Okay, so computers can store a large volume of data and information. All the computers will store the information in the terms of bytes. Okay, so nowadays we are all using the hard disk of 1 TBs. So in the terms of terabytes, we are going to use the storage. Is it right? So this is about storage. So next is accuracy. So accuracy means the end result will be always the exact result. So even after getting after getting the decimal point, after that 5 decimals also it will be accurate. So there will be no mistakes at all. So that is the meaning of accuracy. So the end generated result which is generated by the computer will be always exact and without any mistakes, and it is of high rate of consistency. So next point, diligence. So unlike human beings, computers won't never get tired. So it will be tired only when if you are not having a supply of enough UPS, there will be no power scheduling, then it will be having a blocking of the task. But here the computers will never get tired like human beings. So it can work for longer and longer hours. So with that too without making any errors. So if you are giving only errors in as an input, then it will be not giving a expected output, and except this there will be no errors from the computers. Okay, so next is versatility. See, computers are capable of performing any task. See, and multi-processing features is there, multitasking features is there. All these features can be applied for teaching, for playing games, for calculation purpose, business purpose, training purpose. For everything we can adopt this computers. Is it right? So therefore the computers are called as multitasking features. So it can be able to perform any task. Okay, so next is flexibility. So flexibility would involve the number of things you can do with the computers. While some are best used for simple tasks and filling of tasks, and others can be used for multimedia, gaming, and so on. Means what? So some people can be used for some task and other people can be used for some other task. So this is the meaning of flexibility here. Okay, so next is cost effectiveness. So since we have studied, we are in fifth generations of computers, so nowadays all the human beings can be affordable for purchasing the computers. So it has reduced the paperwork also, and then human efforts also it reduced by reducing the computer hardware part and even the software or now less cost, so that human beings are able to afford the computers. Okay, so these are the explanations you have to write for the features of a computer or characteristics of a computer. So you have to remember all these key points: speed, storage, accuracy, elegance, versatility, flexibility, and cost effectiveness. And then you can write all these points in your own words. You can able to write these points so that it should get this meaning finally. Okay, so next question is, explain the working of if-else statement with syntax, example and flowchart. So this if-else statement is also called as, answer for this question is, if-else statement is also called as if-else ladder. So this statement executes one statement from multiple statements based on condition. What does it mean? If the condition is true, it is going to execute one statement. So if the conditions is false, it will going to execute some other statement. So here, based on the condition, we are executing the statements. Okay, so that is why it is also called as multiple way branching. Just like switch statement is also called as multiple way branching, if else if statement is also called as multiple way branching. Okay, so next, what is its syntax? So syntax here, so first condition 1 will be checked. So if the condition 1 is true, what we are going to execute? Statement 1 we are going to execute. So it is for true condition. So if the condition 1 is false, what we are going to execute? Statement 2. Sorry, condition 2 we are checking, and then in condition 2 if it is true we are going to execute statement 2, or else we are going to check for the next condition. So the series will continue until last statement. So if it is not matched with any one of the statements, so next the default statement will be executed. For example, if a student secures 35 marks, if a student secures more than or equals to 75 marks, so he will be considered as what? First class. Is it right? Else we are going to check one more condition. If the student secures more than or equals to 65 marks, so then he will be considered as second class. Is it right? If a student secures more than 35 marks or equals to that, student will be considered as pass. So if he doesn't secures any one of these marks, below 35 is there, student will be what? Of course he will be fail. Is it right? So the same technique is used here. So we have to apply these three conditions, means you have to use this if else if condition. So if else if ladder will have more than two or more conditions. Based on that conditions, whether if it is true, we are going to execute one set of statements. Whether it is false, we are going to check for the next condition. Okay. So this is the if else if condition, syntax and example. So next we will see the flow chart. So flow chart goes like this. So first it will be checking for the condition 1. So if condition 1 is true, then we have to execute the condition 1 statements. So if the condition 1 is false, we have to execute the condition 2. So if the condition 2 is true, we are going to execute the condition 2 statements. So if the condition 2 is false, we have to execute the condition 3. So condition 3 is true, then we will be executing condition 3 statements. So if it is also false, so the same statements will be repeating for the last condition. Okay, so this is the flow chart for if else if condition. Okay, so next question is, explain the general structure of C++ program with suitable example. Okay, so here this is the structure of C++ program. This is how it will look like. So first it will have documentation section, preprocessor statements, global declaration will be there. After that main section will be there. So after that we will be having logical declaration section, program statements, and then calling user defined functions. So this is the this will contain in the body of the main function. So next we'll have user defined functions like function 1, function 2 up to function n. So these are all sub functions are also called as user defined functions. So this is how the general structure of C++ program will look like. So first it will have documentation section. So next it will have preprocessor section, or next we'll have the global declaration. Next we'll have main function. Inside main function we will be having local declarations and programming statements, and we have to close the curly braces here. So after that we will be having user defined functions. So that is function 1, function 2 until last function we will be declaring. So this is the general structure how C++ program will look like. Okay. So next we will see the explanation for each of these sections. Okay. Yes. So first section is comments section or documentation section. Comments are the pieces of codes that compiler ignores to compile. So there are two types of comments, single line comment and multiple line comment. So comment sections means what? It will be having the meaning about the program. So it will be having pieces of lines, but it will be not executed by the compiler. So comments will have of two types. So first one is single line comments. So second one is multi-line comments. So single line comments means always it will begin with this double slash. So after seeing this double slash, whatever it is there inside this here, the compiler will not just execute anything after this double lines. So this is the single line comment. So this takes the compiler as single line comments. So next is multiple line comments. So multiple line comments will always begin with slash star, and here you have to write the comment, and after that ending should be star slash. So whenever this comment line is seen by the compiler, so there also the compiler will not execute anything within this comment line. Okay, so this is about comment section or documentation section. So documentation section, in the sense we are just writing the meaning about the program. Okay, so next is preprocessor directives or a linker section. So the linker section always begins with the hash. So this hash is there, right? So with this symbol always the linker section will begin. For example, hash include iostream.h, hash include conio.h, hash include preprocessor.h. So like that it will always begin. So it is a signal for preprocessor which runs with the compiler. So whenever we are having this hash, so it will tell for the compiler so that there will be a header files there. Okay, the statements then directs the compiler to include all the header files. See, for example, if you are having hash include, so within this you will be having iostream.h, or else conio.h, or else stdlib.h, like that, right? So what does it mean is, so always this hash symbol will indicate the compiler that there will be some header file for the system to be executed. So for example, see here, so the statement what it will do, it will directs the compiler to include the header file from the standard C++ library. For example, see, if you are having iostream.h has one header file, conio.h has one header file, math.h has one header file. So then what it will do, it will indicate this hash include will indicate that compiler to execute and link for the iostream.h. Okay, so here iostream.h, math.h, conio.h, everything will be called as what? Header files. Is it right? So next thing we'll see, definition section. So in this section what we have to do, we have to define already whatever the constants or whatever the functions, structures, classes, objects, everything we are going to use, right? So before using, we have to define all these sections before the void main. So all this will be done in this definition section. For example, if you want to include the pi value in our program, so then we have to define define the pi value. So here we should not use equals. So just we have to define hash define, and then we have to write pi in the capital letters. We have to give space, and then we should write 3.14. Okay, so this confirms that the pi value is already declared. So then we can use this pi as a variable in our program. Okay. So next we'll see the global declaration section. So global declaration section means whatever the variables is there right in the program, for example a, b and sum. So if you are having the functions in the program, so that is sub functions are there in the program, so all the variables should be declared before using the in the program. So for that sake what we have to do is we have to declare all these variables before the main functions. So if the variables are declared before the main functions, and it will be accessible throughout the program. So it will be accessed throughout the program even for the functions. So then that such functions declaration place is called as global declaration. So global declaration means what? All the variables in the program will be declared before the main function, and also those functions will have access for the sub functions also. Okay. So next we'll see main function. So here the main function indicates the programmer, C++ programmer, that so it is going to start the execution of the program. So execution of the program will always start with this main function. So if you are not having the main function, the program will not be executed. The main function should be written in the lowercase letter, and it should not be never be terminated by the semicolon. See, always main function should be written in the lowercase letter, and never we should give like this. So main you are writing, right? So after writing main, you should never give like this. So if you are giving like this, what does it mean? So there is nothing after the main function. So it is there right after main function, we have to execute other statements. So but if you are giving like this, then it will throw an error. So we should avoid using the semicolon after the main function. Okay. And next point is, always every C++ program should have only one main function. If you are having more than one main function, so then also we will be getting an error. Okay. So next we will see the braces. So after main function you have to write the braces. So that is opening braces and closing braces. So opening braces and closing braces. So what does it mean? It will be having body of the function. So within this, the body of the function will be there. Okay, so like it will have a declaration section and it will have the executable statements. Everything will be present within this uh, pair of curly braces. So within this pair of curly braces, all the functions, declarations, statements, everything will be present. So next is declarations. So declarations are also called as just as a local declarations. So the declarations is a part of the C++ program where all the variables, arrays and functions are declared with the basic data types. So basic data types in the sense what? The main data types, simple data types is there, right? Like int, float, double, character. So using those data types we are going to allocate. So what does the declaration allows means? So it will help the compiler to allocate the memory space inside the computer memory. So if you are using this declaration section, so what does it mean? So it will help the compilers. So compilers will be allocating the memory space inside the computer. Okay. So next is statements section. So statements section means these are the instruction to the computer to perform some specific operations. So specific operations in the sense what? So like input operation, output operation. So everything will be done within this statement section. So here always input will be given using cin function, output will be given using cout function. Okay, so always in statement section all the lines should be terminated by using terminator, statement terminator. So what does it mean? Semicolon. So every line in the statement section should be finished with this ended should be with this semicolon. Okay, so next we'll see a general C++ program as an example. So here we have to write always all the program by using hash include iostream.h. So this line should come down here, hash include conio.h and void main should come here. So after writing all the preprocessed section, you have to write a clear screen inside the curly braces. So after that you should write one cout statement. So what does it this program is for? So this is just a simple program to display a message on the screen. So whatever it is there inside this cout function, so that statement will be displayed. For example, here they have given welcome to C computer science class. So the same line will be printed in the output screen. Welcome to computer science class. So this is the structure of C++ program with explanation and program example. Okay, see here. So here it will be having all these sections. So all these sections you have to explain. So if you know the meaning of each section, it will be easier for you to explain every sections. Okay. So next we'll see the next question. So differences between while loop and do while loop. So while loop difference, first difference is it is a pre-tested looping. So pre-tested looping means what? The condition will be tested at the beginning of the looping. So but do while loop is what? Do while loop is also called as post-tested looping. So post-tested looping means what? The condition is tested at the end of the loop. Means what? At the last statement, the condition will be checked. Okay. So here the next difference is the set of statements are repeated as long as the condition is true. So here also the set of statements will be repeated as long as the condition is true. So if the condition becomes false in both the looping, so the condition will be, if it is becoming false, so then it will come out of the control of the loop. So here also it will come out of the loop. So next it will not execute even once if the statement condition is false at the first time. So why? Because it will not execute because first itself the condition is checked, right, in the while condition. So if it is false there itself, the statements below that will not be executed. So next, do while statement. So here it will execute at least once when the condition is false also. So when the condition is false also, it will execute at least once because the condition is checked at the last, at the end of the statement. So only one time it will execute, minimum number of times. So here you can see the syntax. So while the condition will be there in the construct place. So next we are going to check for the statements will be executed. So for do while condition, so first we have to do the set of statements, so then we are going to check the condition. Okay, so these are the differences between while and do while loop. So you have to note it down, this question, it is a very important question. Okay, so next question is explain the stages in problem solving methodologies. So here there will be some 7 steps you have to explain for the problem solving. Okay, so first one is problem definition, second one is problem analysis, after that algorithm development, after that coding, next is testing and debugging, next is documentation and maintenance. Okay, so here so we are having 7 steps of problem solving: problem definition, problem analysis, algorithm development, coding, testing and debugging, documentation and maintenance. So here we'll see the first step, problem definition. So problem definition means what? Here we'll be giving the requirements for the program. So the program has to be the programming requirements has to be specified clearly without any mistakes. So thus this step includes understanding the problem very well. The problem solver must understand the problem very well to solve the problem efficiently. So next is problem analysis. So problem analysis means what? We have to identify the problems such as inputs, outputs and any additional requirements is there. All these things should be given properly without any confusions. Okay, so next is coding or programming. So coding or programming means what? We are writing the program for the given algorithm. So that is the process of translating an algorithm and flowchart according to syntax into some particular programming language. So that is called as coding. So after coding, after writing the program, what we have to do? We have to test the program. So testing, why it is required? So it is required for checking whether the condition is working along according to our expectations. So that is called as testing. So debugging means what? So checking whether the error is there in the program. So if error is there, we have to solve the error. So we have to first detect the error and then we have to remove that errors. Okay. So next is after writing the coding and then testing and debugging, we have to document the entire code, right? So documentation means we have to use for the further. So documentation is a reference material which explains the use and maintenance of the program of applications which will be used to write the program. So this can be done in 2 ways. So that is 2 types of documentations are there. So internal documentation is there, external documentation is there. So internal documentation means what? It is also known as technical documentation. So here all the terms will be defined using a given variable names, including the comments in the program and then presenting the code clearly. All this specifies the internal documentation. So external documentation means what? The program or the application is supported with additional textual information about the application. So it will be useful for developers, administrators and the users. Okay, so these are the 7 steps, and one more step is their maintenance step. So maintenance of the program should be done periodically of the program has to be done. So for the modifications based, we have to do this maintenance of the program. User requirements, like a continuous task will be there. Documentation plays an important role in the program maintenance. So it helps the speed execution of the program, and efficient maintenance of the program will be done by using this problem solving methodologies steps. Okay, so these are all the 7 steps we have to write for this answer. So if you are having any doubts while writing the answers in the assignment books, do call us. So all of you should write the assignment books compulsorily without fail. Thank you all.